Well, we are still in awe and amazement of that finish we had last Friday night, the Martinsville Speedway. 1/100th of a second. Daniel Paulus Jr. got the win ahead of Matthew Hubert at Martinsville, of all places. Well, we're coming to a track that can produce some very fascinating racing and even some close finishes. And it's going to be a fun one here as we're on the track that hosts the finale. But it's not the finale here today. We are in April, and it's a shorter race as well. Only 74 laps here. Only one pit stop if this thing stays green. It's going to be a fascinating race here. The Darlington Raceway, one of my favorite racetracks on the schedule. One of 4 racetracks that will host 2 races this year. And we are excited to be here today for the Advance Auto Parts 400, race number 9 in season number 3 of the Wawa Cup Series. The 2025 season continues on here from the Darlington Raceway. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to Darlington. It's the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame, the track that crowns the champion in the Wawa Cup Series, and we will be here August 31st for the Mello Southern 500. But today, on this beautiful April Saturday afternoon, we're here for race number 9 of the season in the Wawa Cup Series. The Advanced Auto Parts 400, only 74 laps here today, so a bit shorter than what we will see later on in the season. But this is a race that is going to be a lot different than what we're going to see at the end of the season. Only one stop, a slightly longer fuel run for these guys, which means that these guys are going to be on the tires a little bit longer than they will be come the end of August. With that, tire management is going to be even more of a factor in this race. We ran this 400-miler 2 years ago. We did not run this race last year, but 2 years ago, Seth Cole won this race by overcutting. We'll see if that ends up being the case here today in this race. And who knows, we may end up with a caution. We've only had one Wawa Cup Series race run here with a caution. That was the 2023 Southern 500. The race last year, the Southern 500 went caution-free, and Ludovic Schreck got the race victory in that one. She starts second. But hey, I'm alongside a guy who is on cloud 9 right now. 1-2 finish last week in Martinsville for you guys, and obviously a lot of talk about Gradden Racing Technologies. We always talk about Gradden Racing Technologies. But we do have some new players up front in this race, and it may not necessarily be the dominating race that you guys had last week, but how do you think this one will play out here at Darlington with all these guys? 74 laps, and it'll be a bit of a longer fuel run there. It's going to make the tire conservation very interesting here in this Advanced Auto Parts 400.
Well, I mean, we definitely we had a really good weekend last weekend at Martinsville across all 6 of our full-time cars. And obviously, it could have turned out even better had we not run into some of the dumb stuff that had gone on, specifically to the 51 and the 6. But my 2 guys had a great weekend. Huber a little behind today, but Daniel's still up there in the top 12. And I think looking at that 51 and that 06, I mean, let's rewind the clock back to last August. We all know what happened last August in the season finale and what me and Ludovic did to the field. So can Nathan step up to the plate and can Ludovic run it back? I like their chances today.
Mm-hmm. Well, one interesting thing, I was talking to you about this, and I'm sure I've mentioned it. We have 6 drivers under that Gradden Racing Technologies Alliance, and 4 of them have gone to victory lane. One of them is our defending champion. One of them was not gone to victory lane, I should say, is our defending champion of Ludovic Schreck. She has yet to win a race, though. She is the highest in points of all you guys, and she's 3rd in the championship standings, 42 points behind Travis Crampton, and she won this race a year ago to win the Wawa Cup Series Championship in 2024, and she starts outside pole. But the driver starting on the pole, 3rd pole of the season already, Duncan Ward, he is primed for a race win here in the Wawa Cup Series very soon, and today could be the day. And he's 18th in the point standings, but he has run so much better than his point standing suggests. I think the same can be said about Daniel Paulus Jr. as well. And, I said in qualifying, Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulus Jr. could, this is a big if, but could be this year's Ludovic Schreck and Blaine Keys. There's a big statement there, but we'll see if that ends up being the case as the season rolls along. Here is how they line up in the points. After 8 races, Travis Crampton, of course, the points leader, 277 points towards the championship for him, 31 points behind his Bryce Egan. However, Bryce starts all the way back outside the top 35 in this race here today. That is not what you want as the driver 2nd in points. Ludovic Schreck 3rd in points, 42 behind. Bruno Diacomo had the same fate as his teammate there. He's 50 points behind, but he starts deep in the field again. Thomas Troxel, 5th in points, had a great run last week At Martinsville, he is 51 points behind. Kirsten Bell, 52 behind. Laura Chung, she starts 5th here today. She's had a great season. She is 54 behind. Isaac Nichols, 58 behind. Logan Williams, 59 behind. And then Blaine Keys, Alex Amatali there. Right at the cutoff, Blaine Keys holds it right now, 63 points behind our points leader of Travis Crampton. Travis has been the class of the field, generally speaking, at this point, but we're seeing some of these other guys, like Paulus, like Duncan Ward, they're running up front a lot more frequently, and it's only a matter of time before these guys really start racking up the points and finding themselves in the top 10. It is Duncan Ward starting on the pole position here today at the Darlington Raceway. Alongside him, it's Ludovic Charette. We got Nathan Smith, Braden Perez in row number 2. Laura Chung, and how about Jared Martin, the uncharted driver, getting that 96 in the Fast 6. He'll start in the 6th position here today. Zayden Davis, another uncharted driver there, starting in 7th alongside Jack Haas. 2023 Southern 500 winner Logan Williams starts in the 9th position alongside Darian Arnsdorf. And then Drew Webb, Daniel Paulus Jr. round out the top 12. Of course, Daniel Paulus Jr. finished 2nd in Homestead, won last week in Martinsville, trying to run it back in another top 2 finish, maybe even another win. We are still looking for our first 2-time winner this season. There is an opportunity for that to be Nathan Smith or Daniel Paulus Jr. here today. I know you'd like to see that, Matt, but let's have to see how it all goes down. 74 laps here at Darlington Raceway. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here in the Advanced Auto Parts 400. And, of course, it's Duncan Ward for Team Williams starting on the pole position. But, Matt, will he get his first career win in the Wawa Cup Series, or will it be somebody else going to victory lane here today at Darlington?
You know, I like Duncan a lot. He's really, really shown a lot of potential this year. But it's not going to be him today. And it's not going to be someone who's already won this year, though. I must say, it's not going to be somebody who's already won. It's going to be somebody who won here the last time we were here. And give me Ludovic Charette in the 51. Best driver in you need to be absolutely fantastic to win here at Darlington. So who's better to pick to win here than the best driver in the field?
We'll have to see if she can get her first win of the season. Ludovic Charette, of course, looking to defend her Wawa Cup Series championship, and she's in a good position to be able to do that this season, but got to go to victory lane at least once if you're going to win the title. Ludovic Charette did so 4 times last year en route to her Wawa Cup Series title, including the Southern 500 here back in September. Everyone's rolling off all right. Of course, Matthew Hubert was runner-up last week. He starts deep in the field in the 15. Tough break for Hubert there in that regard. Our points leader, Travis Crampton, Nicholas Samedeo, Thomas Troxel, all 3 very strong drivers starting on the inside lane. That is where you want to be to start this race. The outside lane is not a good spot, especially in turns 1 and 2. Got Blaine Keys there starting in the 20th position. We'll have to see if he can exercise those demons that he ended up facing here back in September in that Southern 500. Going to be fascinating to see what he ends up doing, because he is definitely a driver we expect to run well as the season rolls along. But Duncan Ward's been good, and here he goes across the line to start this Advanced Auto Parts 400. We're green flag racing here at the Darlington Raceway. Oh, what did I say about that outside lane? Ludovic Charette falling back a little bit there, but it's Duncan Ward leading lap number 1 here at Darlington. But Nathan Smith is like, he ain't going to lead for that long. And to the inside for the race lead goes our Las Vegas winner. To the inside of Duncan Ward, trying to become the first 2-time winner this season. Nathan Smith looking quick. Laura Chung, Zayden Davidson, Jack Haas around Ludovic Charette. Here comes Logan Williams as well. And of course, he won here back in 2023. I know he'd love to run it back again and move up in the championship standings. He's 9th in the standings right now. Had a great run in Martinsville last week. And he's now up to the 6th position as Ludovic falls to 7th. Drew Webb, Braden Perez, and Jared Martin. That is the current top 10 here at Darlington.
The one thing I've noticed the past couple weeks, the 51 does not fire off good at all at the start of the races. It's definitely hurt her at Homestead. Now, Homestead, I mean, that car was just horrendous. But you see here again today, didn't fire off good on the outside lane. Nathan Smith gets the jump to the bottom. And the 06 for Parker Davis Racing Enterprises. I mean, you've got to tip your cap to them. Yes, I know they're a Grattan Racing Technologies affiliated team, but they're 2 drivers of Isaac Nichols, who's never raced in the ratings era here, and Nathan Smith have been absolutely fantastic this year. And Nathan Smith, showing out here once again early.
Duncan Ward has also been a very strong driver this season as well. Of course, 3 poles, a lot of speed in qualifying, but really hasn't been able to translate that into the races so far. Only 1 top 5. He's got a nose to the inside of Nathan Smith, not going to be able to get to the inside of him. How about Laura Chung in the 20? It's a driver who, we keep talking about her. She is a very solid driver. She currently is 7th in the championship standings there for Rut Racing. And she's looking for her first win on the channel in over 2 years. Last win came in the Turkey Hill Truck Series in 2022, which was a rating series, by the way, so she knows what she's doing. But her, along with Daniel Pauls Jr., are 2 drivers who I felt like were kind of in not a good spot team-wise, that have both moved up to very strong teams this year who have an opportunity of really showing out, making the chase as the season goes along. Ladovic is starting to make some moves. She is to the inside of Zayden Davidson. As the 00 gets put in the outside wall just a little bit, we're going to see a bit of that Darlington stripe action off the exit of turn 2 here today. Logan Williams to the inside. Drew Webb in the top 10, looking to get his second win of the season. He won at Coda earlier on in the year. Brain Perez and now Alex Inventali looking to break that tie with Blaine Keys in the standings. Currently running in the 10th position, but here comes Andrew Miller to the inside for the 10th spot. I think at some point we'll see Andrew Miller really start to rack up some good runs, some top 15s here and there. I think that team is primed to actually be on the up and up as the season goes along, especially with Andrew Miller. There's Tanner Parton. Our points here, Travis Crampton moving his way up to 15th now in the 98 machine. But the best of runs there for Kirsten Bell. She is now 19th. Her teammate there, Nathan Meyer. First career start in the Wawa Cup Series for Nathan Meyer, currently running in the 17th position. Blaine Keys did not get off to a good start there. 22nd. Granted, he started on the outside lane as well. But Nicholas Sanvideo also deep in the field there, 21st. Isaac Nichols also struggling here today, and Daniel also. He started outside lane, and he's now down in the 27th position. Still plenty of time to move up through the field as this race goes along, as we had a pass for the race lead. Saw that in the corner of your screen, and I will actually put it in the corner of the screen this time. I missed that when Paulus took the lead for the first time last week in Martinsville. Duncan Ward back out front here at Darlington, but Nathan Smithling the strike right back, and here comes Jack Haas, and here comes Ladovic Charette. We got some strong drivers moving their way through the field here at Darlington.
Yeah, we're gonna see a little bit of a repeat of Phoenix. You had the 51, the 39, the 95 are all up here, just like we saw at Phoenix. Drew Webb's surprising amount of pace out of that 18 today. He's been very up and down with the consistency this year. I know he's got a win. Logan Williams has won here before. So this is a great scrap here. 4 positions, 4, 5, 6, and 7 up here, or 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, and 8. With Zayden Davidson closing in, and Tanner Parton in the 97 has now cracked the top 10, and we'll see what he can do. He's really broken away now from Andrew Miller, but it is the 2 rookies leading the front of this field. Duncan Ward, 23, Nathan Smith, 06, and they're starting to try and run away from Jack Haas a little bit here, because Haas's car is really coming to life here as this run goes on.
Definitely is. And Evans Ross Racing, they've had an interesting season. Kirsten Bell is 6th in the championship standings. Jack's back in 14th, but Jack did get the win at Phoenix. And he has that win. That helps him in the wild card race if he so needs it. Of course, he made it top 10 in points last season in the Wawa Cup Series chase, and trying to do the same this year. Drew Webb's got a nose at the inside of Laura Chung. Logan Williams. Drew really drove it into the corner right there, and Laura's going to fall back a little bit more. Here comes Logan Williams trying to move his way up. That 97, just like you said, is flying out there. Tanner Parton has had speed here and there. He's 17th in the points. Hasn't quite had the pace that his teammate has had at this point of the season, but Tanner Parton's got some potential to maybe make it into the top 10 and make the chase. Crampton's also got a fast car today as well. He's up to 14th now after starting back in 25th, I think. So he's moved up a decent amount right there, currently running 13th. And back to Blaine Keys, this is not a good run for him, and he's going to get past here, get put on the outside lane again by Isaac Nichols. Sam Medeo also slipping back. These are guys who have had success in the past in the Wawa Cup Series, obviously a lot of it, who are struggling here today, who we would expect to run well at a track such as this. But Blaine Keys, just not quite where he wants to be at this point in the season. And, at what point do you start wondering, and I know this is crazy to think, will Blaine Keys get a win at some point this season? He's won the past 2 seasons in the Wawa Cup Series, and granted, he had a really good run last week in Martinsville before he had whatever issue that he had happen to him. But this team has been a bit off the pace for their standards. And even though he's 10th in the points, really haven't seen Blaine Keys up front in a lot of these races up to this point in the season. Well, Duncan Ward is still leading in the 23. Nathan Smith about a second behind is Jack Haas and Ladovic Shred. Ladovic still has a very good shot at winning this race here today, and I think she's got the best chance of all these guys. But I'm intrigued to see what Duncan Ward can do. He's got a lot of speed, and he's got an opportunity of getting his first career Wawa Cup Series win here today, and this is a great place to get that done.
Yeah, this is, as we always say, I think there's some tracks that carry, not to take knocks at people, but Daytona's more of a, ooh, I won at Daytona versus, wow, that was impressive. Winning here at Darlington, pulling Nathan Smith out front here, you got two rookies leading at Darlington. That is quite impressive, and yes, oh, it's a GRT car. Well, no, guys, Nathan Smith also knows what he is doing. He's doing a very good job. Back to the Blaine Keys point, though, real quick. I think what we're seeing with a lot of these drivers, your margin for error this year, because I don't have the points up in front of me right now, but your margin for error, the gap between... I know Travis Crampton has a huge point lead right now, but I think we also recognize that if Ladovic Charette didn't have some of these mistakes that she's walked into, it could be Crampton and Charette in a completely another galaxy from the rest of the field. Your margin for error this year just isn't there. There's been margin for error in years past. This is not the, if you're Blaine Keys, I'm not saying he's going to miss the chase or anything, but you can't keep having these kind of up and down roller coasters, same with the 54, same with the 59. There's other guys back here. It's not just a Blaine Keys thing. My two guys themselves. You can't keep having these up and down runs. You will miss the chase with how competitive it is.
Yeah, and it is a very competitive field, and I have said before, there's at least 25 guys I think that have a good opportunity in making the chase this year. And Tanner Parton included, who seems very fast. Now up to the 7th position. Of course, Braden Perez is quick. Logan Williams in the top 5 right now. Getting to a point where the tires are really starting to give out. We're also getting a point. Duncan Ward's actually put a bit of a gap between him and Nathan Smith as well, and it's definitely a good run for Duncan Ward at this point. Can he execute it the whole way through? I think it's easier to hold on to your position here at Darlington than it is at Las Vegas. And Duncan Ward, of course, he led the first half of that race at Las Vegas, but when we got caught back in traffic and the pit stops and everything, it's kind of just the end of the race for him there. I will say, too, and everyone talks about the Grattan Alliance, obviously. It is a big deal here in the Wawa Cup Series, and they're very successful, but it's not just the cars that are successful. You guys know how to pick good drivers. You got the past 2 defending Wawa Cup Series champions on the same team at Grattan Autosport officially. Nathan Smith and Isaac Nichols, not much experience in the rating series, but they've done this before, and they have caught on very well. And Daniel Paulus Jr., especially Paulus, I feel like, is one of those drivers, as I said earlier, although he's not particularly had the best speed here today. He's definitely a guy who I expect to make the chase this year based on what he's done in the past in this series with the equipment he has had. And he's definitely had a very successful season and is still trying to work his way up in the points in that regard. But you guys got a great group of drivers, and I think that is something that cannot be understated in terms of winning a Wawa Cup Series championship. Both the owner and the driver have to be top-notch if you want to win the Wawa Cup Series championship. And I think there are a lot of teams and drivers that can do that this season. Ladovic Charette's been content to stay behind Jack Haas here, as Braden Perez and Tanner Parton both get around Logan Williams. Williams slipping back just a little bit there in the 95. But Parton trying to get around Braden Perez. This 97 may actually have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He's actually closing in on a race leader within 4 seconds now. Travis Crampton as well at the back of this pack right here. He's also found a lot of speed. He is 12th quickest. And keep in mind, the uncharted car for NS Racing made the Fast 6 with Jared Martin, though both Crampton and Parton did not necessarily have good qualifying efforts. How about Carson Miller running 11th for Appalachian Motorsports? Zane Davison still top 10. These are uncharted drivers here who are in the top 10, just outside the top 10, racing with some of the best drivers in the series. Andrew Miller in 10th, right behind the 2023 champion of Drew Webb. Great run for Miller here today. First, he had a great run at Phoenix. We all know what happened there. But Duncan Ward has had the best day so far, and he has led the most laps so far in this Advanced Auto Parts 400 at Darlington.
Yeah, you got 2 rookies here who just continue to elevate their stock. Duncan's has definitely been impressive, essentially, since we got left Daytona. He's just had a rocket ship, especially at qualifying. But Vegas, Homestead here today. You're seeing the pace put together. Nathan Smith has great pace. And I mean, they are gapping Jack Haas and the Dover Charette. And that is the title favorite. And in my opinion, probably the most slept on title contender. And they're just completely pulling away from here. One guy I do want to touch on real quick. These guys in the Uncharted cars are doing their own ratings, correct?
They are.
If there's a guy who's elevating his stock every single time he's in a race, it is this dude Zayden Davidson and this 00.
He currently sits 23rd in the standings with 2 fewer starts than everybody else around him. So his average finishing position is 15.5. If you line that up with everybody else, he would be 5th in the championship standings, just behind Ludovic Shred and Thomas Troxel. So, to your point, Zayden Davidson is a great driver. Now, the downside, that the Uncharted drivers have is the fact that they did not get to do that boost in the ratings that the Charter drivers did. So they started behind the Charter drivers, and that was intentional. But the Uncharted drivers are essentially battling amongst themselves, and both Zayden Davidson and Carson Miller are 2 guys who have essentially made every race. And they're kind of going against each other in terms of who's best as the Uncharted drivers. And right now that's Zayden Davidson, but you got to give a lot of props to Carson Miller. He has made all but 1 race this season. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the 1 race he missed may have been Daytona. He just barely missed out through the duel. So Carson Miller has done an excellent job in qualifying. And he's actually gotten around his teammate as well. That 50 machine looking really quick today. He's in the top 10. These guys have kind of found themselves in their respective positions. Isaac Nichols starting to move his way through the field around Nathan Meyer right there. And that's another Uncharted. That's a hot seater in the 91 machine. So there are no driver ratings on that car. And he is currently running in the 15th position. Laura Chung fell back there to 16th. Alex Sanvitali is just ahead of Blaine Keys, and they were the guys right on the bubble coming into this race. Sanvitali has the 1 point ahead of Blaine at the moment. Blaine is 18th, and you got Angel Gutierrez, Trey Bartow, the top 20. Pauls is still 22nd. Troxel's 23rd right there. Avery Alford, 24th. Matthew Hubert's 25th. Sam Medio's down at 27. He just does not have any speed here today. That is not, that's very unlike Nicholas Samedeo, and I'm beginning to wonder about him. Will he have the speed to make it into the chase as this season goes along? He's down 19th in the points. Of course, he got taken out in Martinsville. That surely did not help him. Tanner Parton getting around Ludovic Charette right here. And that is 4th position. That's for 4th, and Braden Perez going to follow suit as well. That 97 may win this race today. Continuing to close his way up front. We'll just have to see if he can pull the strategy correctly and have an opportunity of winning here today at the Darlington Raceway. That'd be a huge win there for Tanner Parton and NS Racing.
Well, let's also note, I don't know if anybody else is paying attention, but the 44 of Braden Perez has basically been sticking with him. They swapped positions, and now Perez has been trailing Tanner Parton, but you got to tip your cap to this 44. I think Millennium Motorsports has a good car. I do not believe that car is quite up to par that the NS Racing cars are, because we have seen they are definitely, in my opinion, I think they're right on par with the GRT cars as well, to their credit. They've built some fantastic cars. So this is Braden Perez. I wouldn't count him out of this either. So it's going to be interesting to see the strategy of the undercut versus the overcut and see what some of these guys in the back do. Paulus, Keys, Troxel. He's just flying. I mean, he's just carving everybody up. And Braden Perez just keeps going with him. And they're only 4.3 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, and he hasn't lost time. That's the big impressive thing for Tanner Parton. He hasn't lost time in getting around all these cars as well. So, Duncan Ward and Nathan Smith both have very good cars, but Tanner Parton has a really good car as Troxel is down the pit lane. Is that... Oh,
that's
no.
Very... Oh, no.
That ain't it. Engine damage on the 62 machine.
Oh, no.
That's a shame. And then I think Rogeldorn just had a tire go down. Yeah, he's coming down the pit lane, and this is right around, lap 38's halfway here today at Darlington. So you can kind of make it to the end, but Troxel, after the really good run he had last week at Martinsville, this is going to hurt Troxel, and he's had a lot of moments like this. He won the opening race, but it's feast or famine for this team. 4 top 5s. They're also the only 4 top 10s that he has this season as well. Andrew Miller is actually relatively quick, up to the 8th position now. The one caveat for him, you see a little bit of damage to the right side of that car. Remember what happened with Blaine Keys last year, and why he fell back a little bit on his pit stop was because he had to repair damage, and that will be the case for Miller. However, he can make that back up, especially if this race stays green, and he plays the right strategy. But we're closing in on the cycle of pit stops, not quite halfway through this Advanced Auto Parts 400. But definitely going to be a telltale sign once we get through that cycle on who's going to be fast and who's not going to be fast. Robo Board's going to come back out there in the 74, but unfortunately his day, his season has just not been what it is, though he did get that top 10 last week in Martinsville. Very impressive, and Rogel's a guy, he could win Talladega. I genuinely think he's got a chance of doing that, even in this ride this year. He actually did that in a very similar ride a couple of years ago, and now he's going to be flying because he has fresh tires, so this is going to really get interesting. When he's slicing through these guys on fresh tires, he's going to be about 2 seconds quicker than Drew Webb and all these guys. Big question is, can he make it to the end? He's not going to be able to win the race on that strategy, but he's going to gain some positions initially. He'll gain some time at least. He is 2 laps down, unfortunately, in that 74, so I don't particularly know if that's going to work out too well for him in the long run.
The 50 and the 95 are up here. I mean, the 50 is now ahead of the 95. So you got to tip your cap to Carson Miller. But, to something you said earlier, you have to kind of start to scratch your head at what's going on in the 59 camp. Because like we've been saying, and I think is going to be, the 15 of Hubert got by Paulus. That's interesting. Oh, that's a big slide for Jared Martin.
Tires are really getting out now.
Tires are just completely shot now. But, I mean, it's not unfair to sit here and think, gee, if the struggles continue, I mean, the only thing that might save him is with how close I think the points are going to stay for the chase battle. It's not like you're going to, you get on a hot streak, I think you can easily make up some ground, but, you're kind of deep in the season now, and I know it's not his forte, but it's just we haven't seen a race this year where I feel like we've been like, oh yeah, San Mateo has a race-winning car, and that concerns me.
Well, the window is open. Laura Chung's down. She's going to be one of the first ones down. Our race leaders have yet to come down the pit lane, and it's fascinating to see what Nicholas has done this season or hasn't done. But in his entire Wawa Cup Series career, he only has 1 points-paying win, and that came on strategy as well, so... to your point, you sit back and wonder, the field's so much stronger this year. Is that going to hurt him? Tanner Parton and Braden Perez going to come down. And I think the smart thing, if this race stays green, is to stay out and to overcut, because you get those fresher tires at the end of the cycle, and that's how Seth Cole won this race 2 years ago. But obviously you don't want there to be a caution during the cycle as well. Though I will say, and knock on wood when I say this, because we jinx everything. Mike Joy had an instant jinx today in that Martinsville race. It's like, oh yeah, we've never had a race where all cars have finished and then instantly cut to Austin Cindric going down the garage. And it's like, Mike Joy, welcome to the party. We've been doing this for 10 years. Duncan Ward is down the pit lane. So is Nathan Smith. And here are our race leaders coming down the pit lane. As a matter of fact, I do believe everybody, the rest of the field is down. I'm not seeing anyone come off the exit here. I would almost expect Tanner Parton and Braden Perez to jump Ward and Nathan Smith here. And they should be coming off the pit lane. As a matter of fact, Tanner Parton, Jack Haas both coming off right there. Laura Chung may also move up, though she was a little ways behind there. Braden Perez side by side there with Zayden Davison. You got to be careful going side by side off the apron this racetrack. We'll see if Daniel Paulus Jr. gains any advances here on the pit lane as well. It's been a bit of a struggle for him after winning last week. Laura Chung just went by. She is unlapping herself currently from Duncan Ward. And there goes Duncan off the pit lane. And there goes Nathan Smith off the pit lane as well. And Ledovic's going to be a little bit further behind, but nothing too major there. And Andrew Miller also done with his pit stop and be a little bit further behind there. Going to lose a spot there to Carson Miller. Carson Miller has had an excellent race here. And here we go. There is Tanner Parton in the 97 to the outside of Duncan Ward. And there's your new race leader, Tanner Parton in the number 97. But the Duncan and Nathan Smith here, they're going to have fresher tires at the end of this run. If it stays green, they're going to be at the advantage. Nathan's going to try to get it on Duncan right here, pushing him there in the turn. Number 1, Jack Haas is here as well. Nathan Smith looking to the inside of Duncan Ward, not quite getting in, and Tanner Parton's got to be smart. You know, you got to get the distance, but you also got to save the tires just enough so that you can fend those guys off near the end. It's still going to be over 30 laps, and we saw how slow they were going at the end of that run. But Tanner Parton's in a good position right now. He's leading here at the Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, and if you don't think that 1 lap makes a difference, I mean, Tanner Parton undercut the leaders by 1 lap, and he's now 1.1 seconds up. So, and he made up about 5 seconds, counting that lead he now has. So I'm not saying that towards the end of the run, 1 lap of tires is going to be worth 5 seconds. That's absolutely not the case. But you definitely need to keep that in mind if you're Tanner Parton, that the guys behind you have fresh tires. 2 guys who do have fresh tires and are moving their way through the field, Daniel Paulus and Matthew Huber, 16 and 17, they're slowly but surely working their way up. And I'm liking how these 2 are. The one thing I will say, obviously, tough luck for Paulus. Great qualifying, but not going to get quite the result. But I do like the fact that these 2 are starting to be on pace, I feel like, with each other at times, which is a good sign. Blaine Keys, man.
Barge a hard on the wall there.
Ooh.
He's coming. He's got speed now. He's got fresh tires up to 17th, which is not a good position for Blaine Keys standards. That's for sure. Drew Webb fell back a little bit down to 22nd now. And you got these 2 drivers right here of Bruno Diacomo, Bryce Egan. They've actually, considering where they started, they're making up decent time, but they're going to fall back a little bit on the points after that. Logan did not have a good stop there. He's down to 26th, and his teammate didn't improve either, so going to be a meeting there in Appalachian Motorsports on Monday. See how that ends up shaking out for those guys long term, because they're not quite there. They're just not quite where they want to be at this point. I think Duncan Ward's where he wants to be, though. He is closing in here on Tanner Parton. Now, keep in mind, Parton had the fastest car, essentially, that first run right there. But, you know, that one lap difference in tires could make all the difference at the end of this race, and Duncan Ward may easily still have the fastest car here at Darlington Raceway.
I mean, you know, this is kind of a legacy racetrack, too. I mean, you've seen some people put in some impressive runs here. I mean, obviously, throwing it back to Ludovic Charette last year, that was as one of the more impressive runs we've ever seen. But, I mean, Logan Williams won here before in the Southern 500. That was a pretty big win for him. It would be the biggest win, I think, or it would be the biggest win that the top 5, if Zayden Davis is kind of out of contention.
How about Kirsten?
It would easily be. Kirsten Bell has found her way up here
pit stop.
Well.
And our points leader as well, Travis Crampton, I should mention, has also found himself in the top 10. And he is going to extend that points lead. You know,
and Brandon Perez is still up here.
Yeah, and Perez still held on. You know, Charette fell back a little bit. That's not awful compared to how Homestead was, but Crampton's the guy. And Crampton would have had a top 20 finish last week if he did not have a restart violation or whatever the heck it was at the end of that race. And even though he got caught up in that wreck, he kept that thing on the lead lap pretty much the entire night. And I'm telling you guys, you know, this is a guy who won late in the season last year. These are 2 guys who work very well together, Nathan Stapleton and Travis Crampton. These are both guys who know it. They know the drill just like you guys do, the Grattan Racing Alliance, and there you go. If I had a nickel for every time Duncan Ward took the race lead without us noticing, I'd have 2 nickels. Duncan Ward out front here at Darlington. He got around Tanner Parton right there, and now Nathan Smith closing in as well. And this 23 may very well have one of the best races, best all-around races we have seen out of any driver so far this season, trying to get maximum points here today in this Advanced Auto Parts 400.
No, we're following up back-to-back weeks here. Daniel Paulus last week, he took the lead on about lap 39, and he did not lose it again, and that included having his teammate try and bump and run him out of the way for the win. And then to come here the following week, Duncan Ward from the pole has been mostly unchallenged. He's had Nathan Smith hot on his tail the whole race, and outside of that first stint, he didn't lose it. Or there goes my words. But now he is going to have to fight Tanner Parton, because this 11 machine has slowed up the top 3. And that's going to be the beneficiary to the 97 and the 06 if Duncan Ward can't get by here. He's going to get the 11 to the outside. He needs to get this pass moving quickly, though.
Going to be on that inside, and Parton and Smith are going to be able to hold on right behind him. It's not over yet for Tanner Parton. You know, even though it's only a one-lap difference, you know, he still has a shot, but I think that 23 is just wired in so much better. And look at that. Look at that drive off. And here comes Nathan Smith to the inside for second on Tanner Parton. And Nathan Smith still going to have an opportunity at this race win as well. He's looking to become the first driver to win 2 races this season. We have yet to have a multi-time winner. Nathan Smith is looking to do that here today. Jack Haas has an opportunity. If we get a caution, he's going to have an opportunity. I think that 39's got a lot of speed. Zayden Davison's keeping this thing in the top 5. Keep in mind, that's Team Williams, same team as Duncan Ward, so you know those cars are fast. And how about Zayden Davison with a top 5 run? And keep in mind, he is eligible to make the Wawa Cup Series chase. Even though he's an uncharted driver, he has not made every start, he is still eligible if he points his way in. Which, if he continues this up, he will point his way in. Kirsten Bell, Travis Crampton, you got Ladovic Shred for 8th on Braden Perez right there, and Avery Alford. All 3 of the Team Williams cars are top 10, and even Alford has had an excellent season, though he slipped back a little bit last week in Martinsville. He's backing it back up with a top 10 run. Carson Miller, Isaac Nichols. How about Daniel? How about Daniel? He's up to 13th now. Both Daniel and Hubert, and you know, it may not necessarily be top 10 runs, but considering where they were, they found the speed late in the going, and I know that's what you want to see right there out of both of your drivers. Andrew Miller, solid run, top 15. Laura Chung, Blaine Keys. Leonard Kochmer is a lap down, unfortunately. So Darian Arnsdorf, Jesse Turner, Jared Martin, Justin Zidell, Zachary Fitzwater, Brian Webb, Leonard Kochmer, LJ Semedo, and then Nathan Meyer all a lap down or more. And then, of course, Thomas Troxel out of the race from the engine failure that happened earlier on. He's out of here. He really is out of here. Got around Brad Stover, and Nathan Smith struggling to get around the 78 machine right there. Jack Haas still in a great position. Great run for Evans Ross Racing here. Kirsten Bell, where she's 5th in the points, or 6th in the points. She will be at least 5th in the points. She's going to probably... not going to get around Ladovic, but she could very well find herself 3rd in the championship standings once this thing is said and done. But, you know, our points leader is still going to be Travis Crampton if this thing stays the way it is, though Ladovic has closed in on the 98 machine, trying to find some speed on our points leader right here. I don't think Ladovic's going to win here today, but still, kind of the run that she needs. We can get her 4th top 10 of the season. And Smith is still stuck behind Brad Stover. And then they got Rogel Dorn now as well. They actually closed in. I think Duncan Ward had some trouble getting around Rogel Dorn right there for that position. But how about Duncan? You know, this is the driver, and Eddie Debs, of course, the agent behind Duncan Ward and all that. But how about this team as a whole? Team Williams went winless last year. They had Ryan Webb and Braden Perez. They won 3 times back in 2023, including that memorable finish we had in Michigan when Braden Perez took the win away from Drew Webb. But, you know, Andrew Williams has not gotten a win as an owner in over 600 days, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's accurate. I think that's what he said. He's been keeping track of that, not me. Hey, Eddie would be able to tell you. He keeps track of stuff. He keeps track of stuff like that. So he'd be able to tell you. But, you know, this would be a huge win for that team. Be the first Dodge to win this season. That means all 4 manufacturers would have gone to victory lane at this point. We'll see. I mean, finally Nathan Smith's going to get around Brad Stover, but now a 2nd lead for Duncan Ward here. And we're 15 laps to go here in the Advanced Auto Parts 400.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a don't mess up now for Duncan Ward. I still think Nathan Smith might not be super happy with the runner-up, but I think if you're Nathan Smith, a 2nd place here, a very strong 2nd place, I might add, you got to take as a win. Same for Tanner Parton. He had a shot there, but you got to tip your cap to Duncan. Jack Haas just lurking around there. Zayden Davis and Kirsten Bell. I want to touch on something because this isn't known to most people, I don't think. If you go back to the 2024 chase, over the final 10 races, Ladovic Schratt obviously scored the most points. Blaine Keys scored the 2nd most points. The guy who scored the 3rd most points last season over the chase was not Matt Tuck. It was actually this guy, Travis Crampton, in the 98. who over the last 10 races would have been third in the points. So, I mean, most people don't know this, but he's been on the come up for about over half a season now. And he's really, it's not going to be a win here today, but you know, these great runs of just finishing in the top 10 every race, that pays off for you in the end of the season.
You guys have had a solid run. Paulus and Hubert moving up another position. They get around Carson Miller. That'll be 12th. And, you know, Paulus might get a top 10. Get around Avery Alford. That would be a top 10. Isaac Nichols there in 11th. Great run for Isaac, who won at Atlanta. It's going to be interesting as we really get deep in the season, when we start getting the drivers who win all the time. And that was Ladovic and Blaine last year, of course. Will Duncan Ward be a part of that? I have a good feeling about him. And obviously, the reason why I say that is because Blaine Keys did all that he did in qualifying in the Truck Series last year with you guys, by the way. And, of course, won the championship in the Truck Series season. Duncan Ward has already been on a tear in qualifying. We're only 9 races into the season. And after what we've seen here today, we can clearly say without a doubt that 23 has a lot of speed, that Duncan as a driver has a lot of speed. And, you know, gets that momentum now, finds himself in the top 10. You know, we could be seeing Duncan Ward having a shot at the Wawa Cup Series championship. I definitely think that's a possibility. But there are so many other guys who have a shot, like Ladovic, like Travis, and I think even Kirsten Bell. Haven't really talked about her too much this season. She has not gone to victory lane yet, but she's looking for her 6th top 10 of the season. And that would, in fact, be the second most, only behind Travis Crampton. So it's another guy to watch out for. Someone's, oh no! That's 2 weeks in a row for Jack.
Oh no!
He was running in the 4th position, and then the engine expired, and again, for Jack Haas, he will fail to finish the race. My goodness. That's awful for those guys. And things like that are just out of your control. You just never know when they're going to happen. You never know who they're going to happen to. And you can talk about the ratings, you can talk about how good you do in the ratings, but there are some things, even with that reliability rating, that you cannot control, that the game will throw at you. And that just happened to Jack Haas. It's going to give everyone another position. That's going to put Daniel Paulus Jr. in the top 10, which that would be his 4th straight top 10 if he can get this done, which I know you absolutely love to see it out of your driver. Hey, Matthew Hubert as well has definitely rebounded very well after finishing runner-up. It's definitely a good run. Hey, Blaine and Laura Chung have moved up fairly well, too. Blaine is actually now in the 12th position. Actually, got Isaac Nichols stuck on that outside, and Avery Alford. They got around both of them. And they're finding themselves up front late in this race. There goes Zayden Davison trying to get around Darian Archer. Trying to get a 4th place finish here today as an uncharted driver. Kirsten Bell is now 5th. Travis Crampton and Ladovic Charette 6th and 7th. It's Brain Perez. And then it's Paulus. Wow. Paulus up to 9th there. Hubert, Lord Chung, Blaine Keys, Isaac Nichols there. But they're all being led by Duncan Ward, who has had an excellent race here today. However, he's got to get around these lap cars. Haley Anderson Jr., Nathan Meyer, Christian Master there. Got to be careful not to get held up too much. And we saw what happened last year with Angel Gutierrez holding up those guys for a long time. Nathan Smith's still going to have a shot at this win if that 23 can't get around these guys ahead of him.
Duncan's got to be careful here because Nathan took about 2/10 out that lap, and he's going to take quite a bit more than 2/10 out this lap. Oh boy, 5 laps to go here. He's going to get to the inside of Haley in the 92, but the 06 to Nathan Smith, can he get the run off the corner? I think he's going to get the run, so he's sticking with the 23 award for now. No, I think Duncan's going to get a shot on this 91. If he doesn't, he's not going to. He's not quite going to get the shot. 3 and 4 is not really the place to make that pass, though. So he's fine now. If he can't get around him in 1 and 2, then he's going to have to worry. He's got to make the move now, and he is going to peek to the inside of Meyer. And will he get Christian Master as well? He will not. Nathan Smith is going to easily get around Nathan Meyer. And, folks, we have ourselves a race on our hands. Nathan Smith trying to get his 2nd win of the season. He did not have a good exit, though. And Duncan Ward pushing that 69 to pull away. But Smith closing right back in turns 3 and 4.
lap, and these two guys all raced long. What an excellent race by both of these drivers. And now
Oh,
Gutierrez is blowing up, and this is going to end it. This is going to end it. They're going to get one more lap in right here. This will end the race one lap early. Angel Gutierrez will not get back around with that one. Out of the LA, they're still green. We're still green here at Darlington. Duncan Ward has gotten around the lap traffic. He's now pulling away. And we got Brian Webb coming down the pit lane in the back of the field as well. Not entirely sure what the issue is with him. Did the yellow lights come on? They did. So they have officially thrown the yellow. It will end 2 laps early, and Duncan Ward will win the race back to the line. Shame that that's the way it's going to end here, but the engines do take a beating here. Tough break for Angel Gutierrez, though he was a lap down at the time. He will fall back further to 40th in the running order for this race, and it's going to be the white flag next time by under the caution flag for Duncan Ward and Team Williams. Now, of course, he still has to make it around. And,
yes.
Not an official win yet. That engine has to stay going all the way through. But there will not be another restart in this race. Tanner Parton in third. Zayden Davidson will get a top 5. Kirsten Bell, Travis Crampton, Ludovic Charette, Braden Perez. How about Laura Chung and Blaine Keys? They found themselves both in the top 10 at the end. Isaac Nichols, Matthew Hubert, and Daniel Paulus Jr. His streak of top 10 finishes will actually end here today, but still a 13th place run for him. Carson Miller, Avery Alford, Andrew Miller, Drew Webb, Bryce Egan, Alex Vitale, Logan Williams. That's the top 20. White flag there for Duncan Ward in the 23.
I can't remember. I cannot remember. We've obviously seen some races where 2 drivers have ran 1-2 for the majority of the race on the short track, specifically say of Bristol, but I don't think that's as fair of a comparison because some of those tracks are quite more difficult to pass. I cannot remember a race on an intermediate on the channel in the rating era, both truck and cup, where 2 guys just had the field on lock the entire race. And they finished where they were, where I think they had the pace. Duncan had the best car, Nathan Smith had the second best car, and they ran a 1-2 for what? All but a handful of laps there on the cycle when Tanner Parton had the lead?
Pretty much. Yeah, they were up there
Impressive.
the whole time. I don't think they really fell outside the top 5 all race. To your point, I will say, Darlington, even though once you get to the inside of somebody in turns 1 and 2, it's very easy to pass them, getting to that point is difficult. It is not a place where we tend to see drivers pass left and right. I think it's, like I said earlier, it's easier to hold your position here than it is at a place, say, like Las Vegas. And that was the case for Duncan Ward and Nathan Smith, especially here today. Well, it's 2 laps early, and I think Duncan Ward's happy that happened because Nathan Smith had a shot at him, but not going to be enough. Andrew Williams is back in victory lane as an owner. And Duncan Ward, going to be a first-time winner in the Wawa Cup Series. Another rookie gets it done. This time it's Duncan Ward who wins the Advanced Auto Parts 400 here at Darlington. From the pole, he led the most laps and got the win. 49 points in total. I think that's the most points anyone has received in one race so far this season. That is a perfect race, if you ask me.
Did he get the fastest lap?
Well, you don't award a point for that.
But did he get the
well, who do you think got the fastest?
Oh, of course.
Who do you think got the fastest lap? That was Ladover. We don't actually award a point for the fastest lap in the Wawa Cup Series if they do that in real life. Definitely a fun race here at Darlington. Great to see it just play out. I know we ended a couple laps early with the caution because of Gutierrez's blown engine, but still a great one nonetheless. And Duncan Ward goes to victory lane in the Advanced Auto Parts 400 here at Darlington. Nathan Smith, Tanner Parton, Zayden Davison, Kirsten Bell, Travis Crampton, Ludovic Charette, Braden Perez, Laura Chung, and Blaine Keys, the top 10. And we talked early on about how Blaine hasn't had a good season. He's going to keep that thing in the top 10 in points after that run. So will Laura Chung, so will Ludovic Charette, so will Travis Crampton, so will Kirsten Bell. Those are 5 guys right there who I think could easily make the chase. Duncan Ward's going to move up in the points as well. Paul's had a solid run after winning last week. Maybe not necessarily the best of runs, but I think considering where he ran most of the race, still a great race for you guys there. Velocistar. The unfortunate ones of the day include Thomas Troxel, Jack Haas. They both had, well, especially Jack had a great run, but Thomas Troxel, of course, up there in the points. He's going to fall back in the standings, and of course Gutierrez, they're bringing out the caution at the end, and really nothing that Gutierrez could do in that situation. It's just an unfortunate turn of events for him right there. 26 drivers finished on the lead lap here today, and definitely a very unique race in terms of how it played out with who was up front and how long they stayed up front, just like you said. But thoughts on this one here at Darlington, and how do you think it's going to play out next week when we head to Bristol?
Well, if Martinsville is any indication, I feel like I should be quite excited for Bristol, but I could end up being completely wrong. But my guys have always ran there, so good there. Trucks, and if Martinsville is any indication, and it usually is, we should be in for another good weekend. But obviously, I think, top of the list there, Duncan Ward. That's a title contender in that 23, and you can see by the pace of Zayden Davidson, that's a title contending team. Nathan Smith, you got to wonder what kind of pace he could have if he finds some consistency. Tanner Parton's got a rocket. Bell, Crampton, Charette did their thing. Keys, Paulus, Chung, and Huber all had really good rebounds. And then I think you have your guys like Samadio, Haas, and Troxel. Obviously, there's nothing you can do about an engine blowing. 2 weeks in a row for Jack Haas is brutal. And Nicholas Samadio, he got a 24th out of it, but you know those three guys, you can't have like days like today become a trend because of how competitive this field is. You're not going to make the chase if days like today become a trend. But it's top of the list, though, is the biggest takeaway. Duncan Ward is somebody that if I could gamble money on right now, I would be thinking about gambling money on him to win this championship.
The odds just got a little shorter for him after this one. Let's just say that. And I watch out for him. That's all I got to say. And interesting race. I think it's a very telltale sign. This was a very normal race. Of course, we did have the caution at the end, but it played out. We saw drivers, we saw teams. I said in qualifying yesterday, this is an owner's racetrack, and I think that is evidenced by the fact that Zayden Davidson finished 4th. Carson Miller got a top 15. He was the highest finisher for Appalachia. He was just the best running Appalachia car all day. And we see a lot of the GRT cars up there. We saw the ERR cars up there as well. And I think we would have seen both the Pacific cars up there too. We saw Laura Chung, Braden Perez up there. We know they have pretty decent cars there. Tanner Parton, Travis Crampton, NS Racing. We keep talking about, Grand Racing Technology. NS Racing is the best team this season so far, and they have consistently proven that. Parton had a shot at winning this race. Strategy didn't play out to his favor, but he still ended up finishing exactly where you would have expected him the way that race played out. So, and Crampton was deep in the field and used the pit cycle to his advantage to get another top 10. That's his 7th top 10 in 9 races, Travis Crampton. And to your point, he was the 3rd best driver in the chase last year, even though he didn't make the chase. Watch out for Crampton as the season goes along. He can rack those points up. If he can get a couple more wins, get some bonus points going into the chase, and just keep that momentum going into the chase, he could have a very, very legitimate shot at winning this Wawa Cup Series Championship. Because, going to be honest, I don't know if Ludovic Strat is quite there. She's good, but I don't know if she's quite there this season. Especially with guys like Duncan Ward, Nathan Smith, Travis Crampton doing all that they've done this season, going to victory lane, and running up front, though Ward and Smith have had a couple of blips in the road right there. Crampton really has not. It's fascinating stuff, and we're just getting started too. We're only 9 races in. We still have ourselves 13 races left until the chase cutoff. We're not even halfway through the regular season yet. And next week we're at Bristol, and we're going to the OG Bristol in the game. We're done with the Freddie and Sean version. I have had 10 years of frustration with that racetrack, and I am done with it. So we're going to the OG Bristol. So the race should, in theory, be a little bit more normal. Though I think we should still expect some shenanigans to take place next Friday night in the Krispy Kreme 500. Maybe not to the level of what we saw last year with Nicholas Samadio blowing up as the race leader coming to the white flag lap. But who knows? We saw Jack Haas blow up from 4th. Anything can happen at any time here, and that's why we'd love to see it. Well, congratulations to Duncan Ward on his race victory here at the Darlington Raceway. We will see you guys next Friday night for the Krispy Kreme 500 at Bristol. I'm going to see you guys on Monday night for Dirt Extreme 6. That is probably one of the favorite races over there in the Body Armor Pro Series. You just won the last Body Armor Pro Series race, by the way, Matt. And that'll be a lot of fun on GNC Stunt Road. We're going to have some fun with that one. These cars flying around the racetrack. Hey, Eddie should be in the booth for that one, as he usually is for the Pro Series, so I know he's going to have a lot of fun celebrating this race victory while in the booth for that GNC Stunt Road race. But thank you so much for watching once again. Huge thanks to Matt Tuck for joining me here today. Have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll see you guys on Friday night for the Krispy Kreme 500 from Bristol. Congratulations, Duncan Ward, once again. Here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series after 9 races, and I will see you guys later.